Okay. Let's go ahead and pull this up. I guess I can actually write that down while I'm doing that. Where do we go? Yes. Story projects and etc. There we go. That's what I meant to more say here. Ignore all. Yes. And yes. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Go ahead and copy that. Oh. I will share it. All right, just doing a quick few tests on here before we kind of get rolling here just a bit. We'll get this charged up and then we'll get started. Woo! Never thought I was actually going to go back to live streaming here so soon, but I figured why not. It's been quite a hectic bit of 2 weeks, and you know what? What the hell? I mean, I might as well. I think I owe it to a lot of people. Because even being absent from my YouTube channel, my subscriber count still seems to be going up, which is so weird. Screw the film adaptation of the Rum Diary. The Brooke Hunter S. Thompson film was based off. It was cool. Just beware of the colorful language, and it was originally written in the late 50s. Which still reminds me, I still need to actually continue on my my sequel for Lobo Writes Gunslinger of the West, which is in the 1800s. And I have a psychological horror story that I need to write as well, too. But I've been more focused on other novelties, Star Wars related, that is. But that's something we'll get into like later on. But if you kind of like noticed, I'm kind of wearing I'm kind of half-assed on my attire right now. I just literally just put this on because I didn't have a shirt. All my laundry stuff is actually washed. I'm kind of like picking up stuff. But we can't really go into some personal details of why I keep coming back to this. But like, eventually we'll get around to it, but I got to find a new job, yada, yada, yada. That's just what I'm going to break it down to in that regard. So as we are getting this, I'm sharing the link. Let me go here. Or you know what, just go home, go to the home page and then just link it. Bam. Error not found. What the hell are you talking about? Ran towards the Rum Diary film was related to one of the top hands coughed in. Oh shit. Well, actually, there is someone I got a rant about though. That's actually Kathy Griffen. That's someone who I got a rant about because I found something out here that I think would make someone's blood boil. After following so much on this whole entire trial that's been going on for about almost like an entire month, and so it still amazes me how crap like this is still able to spew out from Kathy Griffen. So Kathy Griffen, who was also pretty much severely criticized for doing a video which was the beheading of Donald Trump, if you guys remember that. Of course, it's not real, but you can kind of see like what the imagery behind that entire video was, and it didn't come out too good. I'm not even a fan of Donald Trump. I'm not even a fan of politics in that way, but you can kind of see where a lot of that for Kathy Griffen is going. I don't know exactly about her career per se, but it doesn't take that much to see that if someone is going to make a statement like that and then all of a sudden try to make herself relevant within the whole Johnny Depp Amber Heard verdict outcome, you know it's not going to go too good. So with that being said, there was a video that I did see. I'm also kind of pissed off at Amber's sister Whitney for being a part of a lie here. So that's one thing. But we'll get into that some other time. But where? If I just had to, I'll just do it here. So we'll just go to a timestamp, and then we'll just do it from there. Stands. Oh, I'm actually going to back up a bit. So we're going to let it play here, and then I'm just going to give my response back to it. So I will give Cinema Shogun the credit for this because I really can't find the original video of it anywhere, but other people have it posted onto their videos. But I'm going to give Cinema Shogun the credit for it. I'm actually going to say it in the chat. I'm also going to post that link as well too for bringing it to my attention. That's something that I do want to bring to the forefront here. Bam. Okay, so now that we have it, also the username is posted into the chat if you want to check that video out as well too. Links also in that too. So we're kind of doing this as we go along. It's just kind of my new kind of thing. When a certain subject comes to mind and I already know exactly where that thing is, I would actually post that particular link into the description below. That way it's fair game for everyone to see, and I'm not just like looking for something and then everyone's trying to wait on me. I just like to be fair with a lot of people. So Kathy Griffin is why the stigma of women is incapable of being funny exists. Well, not only that, but Kathy Griffin is also the prime example of why you should never, ever trust people with a complete biased point of view. Now, whatever her outrage is, okay, whatever. I could see past this, but the thing about Kathy Griffin is that I could not take her seriously when it came to the whole Donald Trump beheading video that she had displayed over a few years back. Now, placing her relevance into this because a lot of people after the verdict decided to go with Team Amber for this, despite the mountain of evidence that proves otherwise against the claims that Heard has made, and also has proven that she had made up a lot of things in part to her testimony, and a part that she had also had manipulated a lot of areas of that testimony, along with using her sister under perjury. But yet people, men and women, still want to believe Amber Heard because she's a woman. That's their number one excuse, because she is a woman. Because she is a woman, she is a victim. That's bullshit. Obviously, in the nutshell, completely bullshit. Why? Because mountain of evidence versus face value word with no evidence. Dude, I'm rooting for you, by the way, Shades. I hope that goes well for you, too. I'm proud of you, by the way. All right, let's go ahead and play this, because I know by some means I'm going to get pissed off by what I hear. All right, Kathy Griffin, let's see what you have to say, and let's just hope I don't tear you a new asshole for it.
As the kids call them, the stands, and these Johnny Depp stands that are talking about this trial, and yet they refuse to show a picture of what he looks like now, which is a big orange, fat, bloated booze bag. He looks like Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah, let's just try to take off the attention of you when you made that beheading video of Donald Trump and you want to compare Donald Trump to Johnny Depp. Here's the thing about it. And again, I'm not even a fan of Donald Trump, and I'm not even like going against, but let me just put this in this perspective. How the hell are we going to compare Johnny Depp to Donald Trump? Do you actually remember back then that a lot of people, maybe even yourself, I could be wrong on this, but maybe even yourself, maybe you and other people made the comparison that Donald Trump is like Hitler? Still one of the shitty ass comparisons to ever make to a human being. But how are we going to compare a down-to-earth actor who actually takes time out of his day, who goes to children's hospitals, who also helps other people in mind in terms of acting? He's also been there for his exes, by the way, too. You're meaning to tell me a man like that, who spends time out of his day actually doing nice things for other people, you're going to compare him to a controversial figure of the president that has put us in a weird shamble in terms of political decisions. I'm not shaming the dude only because I can say about our current president right now. Fuck them both. Okay. As far as both of these ways goes, fuck them both. Trump and you know what? I can't even fucking remember his name. I can't. That's how much I don't even care. That's how much I don't even care about our current president right now. I don't remember his fucking name. Oh yeah, Joe Biden. Oh yeah. Unfortunately, I remember the name Joe Biden now. So let's see. La, 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 la. It's good to see you, by the way, Lotus Mercedo or Little Lulu now. Howdy, howdy. Congrats on your date. I wish you the best of luck. Just remember to be yourself. True that right there. It's been a great while since I streamed. Oh, dude. I mean, I streamed the Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing like not too long ago back then, but it was only like a 1 hour thing. But that's true. Johnny Depp is actually someone like I can't really compare to Donald Trump because, like I said, Donald Trump was more comparable to John Rockefeller. That's actually true. And also, you're also talking about a man who actually has not been in the political experience as Donald Trump has, and not to mention the experience with Donald Trump hasn't really been too good. Now, I will credit Trump for a few things, and again, that does not mean that I necessarily like him as a president, but I do credit him for certain types of decisions that he has made that do seem to fit and actually be in the interest of the people. However, though, that does not mean that I like him personally as a president, but everyone has their own opinions about it, and I respect anyone's opinion on it. As long as you're true to what you feel about it, then by all means. That does not mean that you should be judged or ridiculed for anything. But anyway, how you compare Johnny Depp, a role model, dude, you might as well just compare him to Keanu Reeves, and you might as well compare him to Dave Grohl, because you know what? Those three have in common is that they actually take time out of their day to make a world a better place, as opposed to a president who sits on his fucking ass all day. And as opposed to you, Kathy Griffin, that does nothing but just spout ignorant bullshit because you want to be relevant again, because you actually had criticism coming your way because you posted a controversial fucking video. Woo! Anyway, let's continue.
The ponytail. And so they keep sticking up for him and being like, Amber is taking down Johnny. He's so gorgeous and dreamy. I'm like, okay, he talks like Kanye when Kanye had his jaw.
Oh my gosh, really? So you're okay. Let's back up a bit. You're meaning to tell me that despite everything that you saw in that trial, you are literally just going to turn this face of yours to the other direction on Amber Heard? Again, evidence that's stacked against her, and again, you want to sit there and act like a complete spoiled, rotten brat who didn't get her way because she was just too busy thinking about the the attention that she actually was forgotten about ever since that video she made, right? But no, let's go to Amber Heard's defense and all that, because she is a woman, she's a victim, right? Okay, because she is a woman, therefore she is a victim. And therefore, whatever she just says, as opposed to evidence that was pretty much presented by dozens of witnesses, countless testimonies, video evidence to also prove otherwise, even testimony from former editor, producer, or pretty much edited executive from TMZ. Also, testimonies from security guards, testimonies from his ex-girlfriend, by the way, Katie Moss, that pretty much, to me, was like one of the most essential ones. And it was one of the shortest testimonies I have ever seen that backs up the claim that Johnny Depp was not, in fact, abusive to Katie Moss, when pretty much Amber Heard had contradicted that entire testimony as well. And you're meaning to tell me that this kind of shit just doesn't fly with you because you just couldn't get your way. That's your problem, Kathy, because the tension is no longer on you. You can't have your way, and you pretty much have to give oral metaphorically to Amber because, you know what, it's just not going for you because it doesn't suit your agenda, does it? I sound like a dick, but you know what? I sound like a dick in the means of sense that I actually do sympathize with people that go through shit. Amber Heard is not one of those people that goes through shit. Okay? Did you hear the fucking recordings of her actually being verbally abusive and admitting to what she had done on those recordings? No. We'll just turn a blind eye to it because you're a fucking disgrace. You're a attention-seeking whore. And yes, I said it. Nice to see you again, Buzzard. But other than that, let's continue.
Wired. He has a fake accent,
Yes.
like when Madonna turned British. So, who is
Well,
kidding
you know,
me?
and he's a Kentucky boy. So every time I hear that from him, I go,
My God, what does this to fucking do with what's going on, you stupid fucking cows? And this isn't just Kathy Griffin I'm talking about. It's whoever's in this fucking call here. What the hell does that have to do with anything here? If you're going to have a legitimate point talking about why you're so disinterested or pretty much so disgusted with Johnny Depp, get some valid reasons. Don't just tell me because of his accent. This is by far the weakest thing you could throw at a man. I mean, Lord Almighty, forgive me for saying this, but Jesus Christ, I mean, you're just picking the lowest common denominator of why. Just the lowest forms of insults just to throw at somebody. You don't have anything objective to say? You're just going to start off the fact of his accent or that he looks like Donald Trump? I'm sorry, can we not address the real issue here? Why don't you actually address the issue here? That way we could actually get into a debate about it. Instead of you beating around the bush or beating a dead horse at this point over something that you know or should know for a fact, objectively speaking, that was proven by the court, by the jury, by the judge, and most importantly, by his own attorneys that completely turned that case around in their favor because they knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they found out, and they knew the truth. And they did everything the right way. And this opens up pretty much a new perspective for people who go through this type of things. Not just women, men too. And because a man was found innocent of being abused and being manipulated and pretty much being dragged through the mud for 6 years, it just doesn't suit you, Kathy. It doesn't suit your group of fucking cronies. It doesn't suit your ass kissers of Amber Heard because she didn't get her way. Well, fuck you all for that. We don't fucking need people like you like that. And it doesn't even take a victim of abuse to actually point out the fact that that shit just doesn't belong here. You're like what? You're in your 50s and 60s and you're acting like a fucking teenager. Grow up. Lowest common denominator of insults, ladies and gentlemen. I am not kidding. Zach, how you doing, man? Thought he was British growing up. Found out he was American from Kentucky. I mean, I knew he was from Kentucky a long time ago. All right, I'll catch you later, shits.
he didn't learn to speak like that in Kentucky.
He learned it from his idol, Keith Richards. And
Yeah, it's an
Okay, so what does that have to do with what's going on here? How does any of this have any relevance to the Amber Heard situation?
affectation.
Totally. But how could people not see through such an obvious affectation and just the whole thing of how he had like his digital warriors out?
How is it that people that still follow you still think you're funny and relevant? How do people still stand the fact that you're nothing more than a cocksucking asswipe that bears no contribution to society or can't even make people laugh because you're stale at what you fucking do? And this is pretty much all that you have left is just to pick bones at people because you have nothing better to do with your time. And after all the shit that somebody was, it's not even just celebrities, okay? It's not just people like this. They're all fucking like this. And I got to slim down on the F word, but like, it just, my blood pressure feels like it's raising every like 7 seconds having to listen to that. But how do people stand you? How?
Outside. This is a middle-aged man. This is pathetic.
I can't believe that this woman had the audacity
Okay, this is Cinema Shogun talking, by the way. So this is a guy I can actually listen to because he's pretty good with this.
to comment on Johnny Depp's appearance when she's out here looking like a pickled carrot, like a factory defected Swedish fish. She looks like if Meep from the Muppets got rabies and decided to have a sex change. That's what Kathy Griffin looks like. Yet she feels the need to talk down on someone else's appearance. I'm a man, and I will acknowledge that Johnny Depp looks better than Kathy Griffin.
Ain't that the truth? But like, it's weird because after all of that's literally what That's literally all she went off of. And if I'm not wrong here, I'm going to go back on this. Now, don't believe everything that you read on the internet. But again, if you go and search up Kathy Griffin, a lot of this has something to do with Kathy Griffin blasts Johnny Depp in scathing rant, calls him a bloated booze bag. Kathy Griffin calls Johnny Depp bloated booze bag. Amber Heard amid Amber Heard verdict. Kathy Griffin says Johnny Depp looks like Donald Trump with a ponytail. Oh, more news about that. Oh, gosh. Trying to get back on the D list. That's... It's like she's trying to avoid the responsibility that, you know, she's avoiding, or pretty much the consequence she's avoiding, and she's just trying to throw a lot of shit on Johnny from that instance. Okay, she's 61 and she's still acting like a damn teenager. That's why. Excuse me for 1 second. Give me 1 moment. Just haven't been feeling well, so hold on. Okay. Need to kind of get my drink on here a little bit, but figured it'd be worth it to try. But you see, like, it's crap like this that a lot of people out there who don't like crossing the lines with people. That's why you have to be really careful out there in the world, because again, this Me Too movement is something that you have to be really careful with it because of crap like that. And it's happened to people. It's happened to a lot of people around me. You know, it's happened to a lot of people. I'll say that in general. But today's generation nowadays, again, this is pretty much including into that conversation, but like in today's conversations or today's like social activities and stuff, these kind of generations will take it the wrong way and then make you to feel like, you know, not the victim, but like they make you feel more like you're the victimizer rather than the victim. But like, that's why you have to be careful nowadays, because it's like anything you do is just, even if it's kind, even if it's just a kind gesture, they just make you feel like the fucking villain, and it sucks. You know what else sucks? YouTube's algorithm to disable the dislike button, or pretty much the dislike number ratio, because again, we still cater to a system here, and it sucks. You know. But again, it's the reason why I kind of like want to stay away from like drama escalation videos, because that's not really like what I'm here for. But like, ooh, sorry, like that. But like, I'm just trying to like stay away from certain shit like that. Good friend of mine. But you know what I've really been doing since I have been pretty much absent off of here? I've been more focused on writing novels and stories, and, you know, just focused on getting my life together. I'm actually going back to my old job, which never thought I would actually do that, but it's something that I'm doing. But, you know, got to do what I got to do. But in terms of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard, one person in the equal area, actually no, two people in that area that like immediately just made me cringe and pissed off. I don't even remember what the so-called doctor's name was, but like he was the one in the trial that was actually like diagnosing somebody by just watching them from the TV, and he was giving like all these like bizarre answers. Also about the gold water rule, whatever he was the first guy that was pissing me off. The second one was Amber's sister. Yeah, I'll be pretty much on here for a while anyway. Hopefully once I get my job back, at least that way I have some form of coverage. But I'm genuinely disappointed in Amber's sister too, because she had the power. I mean, I get it, that's her sister, but like, you know, you have the power to set things right, but you chose to do something wrong with that responsibility. And you were under oath, you committed perjury, and yeah, you got to pay the price for that. I'm surprised Amber's not really paying the price at all for that too. By the way, I think she was supposed to get like jail time and shit. Because if you really think about it, it was proven that she only gave a portion of what she said she was going to donate. Where was the rest of it, right? She only donated a small portion. 250,000. That technically that's not a whole lot nowadays. That's a good portion, but that's not a whole lot nowadays. Where was the rest? Where was the $6 million, $7 million she was supposed to donate to those two organizations? It wasn't all there. So that's fraudulency right there, or fraud. She made the claim that Johnny Depp had, you know, made a violation with a broken beer bottle, which caused her to bleed, which no medical record of that. And not to mention, if she was facing that sort of physical injury or trauma, don't you think that would have been a little bit fatal too in that end? And where were the testimonies from the doctors that treated her? Why didn't she report that? So now you got a false rape accusation. You also have a false assault allegation on top of that. You also have perjury to add to that. You also have defamation on top of that too. You're pretty much slandering and libeling somebody for things that they did not do. Now, it doesn't go without showing that not everyone in that case is innocent. But, you know, Johnny Depp has admitted that, yeah, he had admitted to using drugs. But again, the context behind those situations pretty much factor into how that situation plays out, or how these situations in their relationship plays out. Exactly. Those are felonies. I'm surprised she didn't get jail time for that. She was awarded $2 million, which still didn't make sense to me, because if she had lost that case and she was pretty much proven to also fabricate evidence too, so there's also fabrication of evidence. So that's actually 5 things on top of that. Let me go ahead. There we go. So that's pretty much what, 5 things or 6 right there. Defamation, false rape accusation, false assault allegation, fraud, perjury, and I know there was another one. Oh yeah, evidence, the fabrication of evidence. So there's that. So, which I think that could be obstruction to justice in a way, if you really think about it. But those 6 things on top of that could, to me, that's serious fucking time right there. That is serious time for those 6 offenses. Oh, yeah, no. And conspiracy to perjury by having multiple people that she had up there that could not collaborate the same story, that contradicts the other side of the story, that actually presented multiple evidence. So there is conspiracy to perjury, and also conspiracy to fabricated evidence. So that's some serious crap. It just goes to show that that is corruption at its finest. Oh, no. And on top of that, you also have possible bribery. Think about it. Why else would these certain people be on these stands right here? Why else? So that's about 9 offenses right there that she's already committed. 9. I'm surprised she's not facing like, what, 20 to 30 years based off of those 9 offenses. Hell, maybe even 50 years. Because a good portion of that is felony at almost at its finest. Let's see. So you have all that crap on top. Now let's see. All right, so what I'm going to do... Actually, you know what? Repsion's got a video for us right here. Let's go ahead and play it because I want to see what Repsion has to say. And you know what? I'm going to credit Repsion for this because this is his video, by the way. So it's going to be in the description right there. In case nobody knows, this is his channel right here. Repsion is going to be in the description there. 9 of those offenses should be like 15 to 30 years. Okay, so into that amount, that is close to the amount that I had imagined. Sorry, guys. I've been coughing up a storm. Where's my vape at? Yeah, I'll get to it later. But anyway, Eleni keeps embarrassing herself. And we also have ads. So
for a limited time only.
Play out.
Get access to water drop.
I'm a former NFL player. And after a hard loss, it's easy to wake up and point to the other side. Oftentimes, I realized the better thing to do was to look in the mirror. What mistakes did I make as a player?
When this trial first started, I was of the belief that these lawyers are just doing their job because they're being paid to do it. However, any sympathy that I had for Elaine, even in the smallest minuscule fashion, is out the window from this that we're going to.
I'm just going to point out on my personal perspective, I never actually had any sympathy for Elaine, Amber Heard's lawyer. Just because how she also made remarks towards multiple witnesses saying that they're just trying to get their 15 minutes of fame. Again, which in contradiction, they had evidence to support those claims against Amber Heard. Again, former TMZ, I think, not executive, but like former TMZ head of like production or whatnot. I'm confused on the job title. That's my bad on that. But like, again, he made that remark towards Eleni. Like I could say the same thing about Amber Heard being your client, 15 minutes of fame. There you go.
To respond to today, Amber Heard's attorney, Elaine, is doing interviews, and this is what she had to say.
Attorney Elaine Charlson, Brett Hoff, good morning to you. It's good to see you. First question, how is Amber doing? We saw her hearing that verdict. It took a long time to...
Quite honestly, who cares what Amber's doing right now? She should be out of the public relevance, or you know what? She's still in the public eye. You know what? Honestly, in that regard, I take back what I said. Thank God she's actually still in the public eye, people, because people are not going to forget what she did. She's actually become the pinnacle example of what not to ever do. This is what separates who is the victim and who is the victimizer. That's how Amber is.
Read, it was a sweeping verdict for Johnny Depp. How did she handle it?
You know, one of the first things she said is, I am so sorry to all those women out there. This is a setback.
No, and no, this is not a setback for women at all. Justice has rarely been served, and it has been served in this context, in this case. The setback is for Amber. I really have to ask myself on the level of professionalism that Elaine is demonstrating here, because during the trial, she attacked multiple people who stood up on the stand, saying that the only reason they're doing this is for their 15 minutes of fame, somehow, recognition. When the reality, the day after it's the judgment, but the verdict is done, she goes on giving interviews now, which is fine. She can do that, but now she's still pushing the same false narrative and false info and false statements and lies and blaming it on everybody else. You'll see.
For all women in and outside the courtroom, and she feels the burden of that.
Well, knowing the case and knowing the law, as you certainly do, it favors the defendants like Amber Heard. Are you stunned that the jury essentially rejected her story?
Well, really what happened here is it's a tale of two trials. Johnny Depp brought a suit in the UK for the same case, and the burden of proof was easier for him there. The son had to actually prove that it was true, and the court found there, and we weren't allowed.
I'm going to pause real quick. Okay, and I also forgot to bring this up because a lot of people have mentioned this point up before. Did people ever notice that every time when Johnny Depp would show up to court, like whatever suit he was wearing, Amber Heard would come in wearing the exact same thing? Again, kind of like what Repsion and a lot of people pointed out, it's like a mind game. And at that point is a red flag for people. That's something you should definitely see in a courtroom when it comes to things like that. When you see someone like that trying to play a mind game with you in terms of court, that is indeed a red flag for anything in that matter. That is red flag number one. One of the things you got to keep an eye out for. Someone trying to pretending that they think like you. No, that's where you actually have to don't let that kind of crap bother you. Flag number two. In that instance, this is a little bit more towards in general to Amber Heard and the Johnny Depp trial, is that when Amber Heard was making that, oh, well, Johnny Depp won't look at me because obviously he's guilty, and it's apparently clear Johnny Depp just didn't want to look at her. So she's kind of she's throwing some projectiles right at the person because he clearly does not want to actually look at his abuser. Let's see. Exactly. And that shit is just not something that I'm a fan of here.
Allowed to tell the jury this, but the court found that Mr. Depp had committed at least 12 acts of domestic violence, including sexual violence, against Amber. So what did Depp's team learn from this?
That is just not true at all.
That's actually the opposite of true. So I have to be with Repsion on that one, and that was not mentioned by anyone in the court. That was not mentioned by a judge. That was not mentioned by the jury. That wasn't mentioned by any of the other lawyers. That wasn't even mentioned by even the witnesses. Huh? Oh, excuse me.
Say that the only reason they're doing this is,
Essentially rejected her story.
Well, really what happened.
Sorry.
Well, knowing the case and knowing
statements and lies and blaming it on everybody else, you'll see.
For all women in and outside the courtroom, and she feels the burden of.
Well, and why is it just about women? And again, I'm not trying to speak like some sort of I'm not. Again, this isn't misogyny speaking, but why is it just about women? I thought this case in general was supposed to be about victims in general. It does not matter if it is a man or a woman. A victim of abuse is a victim of abuse. The primary area towards more of women is just making it seem like, okay, well, you're not listening to the fact that, yes, men can be abused. Why is it just women? That's something Amber Heard also should have focused on too. If let's just go to the hypothetical. Let's put this at a case at a 50-50 here. If Amber Heard herself would have been more innocent, and it was just more towards women, don't you think that's going to stem a bigger problem for men too that go through that sort of thing? Because I guarantee you, if she had won that case, despite the fact that ultimately Johnny Depp will still win the court of public opinion, that's still going to stem a huge problem for men who suffer at the hands of women. Because now that just makes it seem like, okay, well, Amber Heard is the prime example of all you really need is a woman's word for it, and therefore the man's guilty. No. That's not the way the world works. That's not the way that the court of public opinion or the court of actual objectiveness works, or pretty much the court of justice itself works. I meant to say it like that. That's not how it works. What it works is that it boils down to facts, and it boils down to actually processing and also examining the facts, not just taking words at face value because one woman says so. Just because, oh, well, I was raped, I was abused, and I was verbally abused. And therefore, you should believe me because I say it's true. No, it does not work that way.
Well, knowing the case and knowing the law as you certainly do, it favors the defendants like Amber Heard.
And even this freaking, oh my gosh, even this interviewer is starting to piss me off.
Are you stunned that the jury essentially rejected her story?
Well, really what happened here is it's a tale of two trials. Johnny Depp brought a suit in the UK for the same case. And
and also way to use the freedom of speech thing as the shield for your statement there. That because the jury believed Johnny Depp, therefore you denied her freedom of speech. Freedom of speech does not guarantee the freedom of consequence. You're allowed to say what you want, but again, there are consequences for certain things that you do say. Got to also think about that too.
Burden of proof was easier for him there. The son had to actually prove that it was true, and the court found there, and we weren't allowed to tell the jury this, but the court found that Mr. Depp had committed at least 12 acts of domestic violence, including sexual violence, against Amber. So what did Depp's team learn from this?
That is just not true at all. I don't know if how many people know this, but they actually got access to Johnny Depp's every single text message in over the last decade. Every single text exchange they had, there was nothing incriminating. And secondly, folks can't seem to make a distinction between somebody saying something mean, like mean words, right? Somebody saying something mean to me online, somebody saying something mean to me in a text message versus physical DV or mental DV. And Elaine keeps bringing up the UK trial. Well, here's the thing about that. Amber was a witness. The trial that happened in the UK was between Johnny and the son. It had absolutely nothing to do with this case in the US. They're two completely different cases. You can't bring another case and that has no relevancy. And Elaine keeps claiming that Amber won, in the UK. No, being a witness in a trial is not the same thing that happened in the US, having Amber against Johnny Depp and Johnny Depp against Amber. These people don't understand the difference between these things.
Demonize Amber and suppress the evidence. We had an enormous amount of evidence that was suppressed in this case that was in the UK case. In the UK case, when it came in, Amber won, Mr. Depp.
Okay, but where are the medical records that she was supposed to provide you? Because again, she blamed everybody, the judge, the jury, you guys, her lawyers. She even blamed her witnesses. She blamed everybody for her own faults. And you still want to sit there and say that, oh, wow, she had mountains of evidence, but she didn't present any of those. And despite the number of years that you've had. So you're meaning to tell me the number of years, and she still cannot provide medical records and also provide any other type of documented footage after all of those years since what, 2016? It's 2021. Okay, 6 years. All of that prior before, and all the evidence that Johnny Depp has, and you didn't have anything else that could counteract that, kind of seems like you're bullshitting to me.
Lost. But here's the thing. You were able to get some evidence that you say demonstrated abuse. You certainly had her testimony. There were pictures, documents, all kinds of...
Oh, yeah, fabricated evidence. I think that's what she's referring to, is the fabricated evidence that was also dissolved and pretty much dismissed out, that nobody bought.
Of evidence. But in point of fact, the jury rejected it. You argued in your closing arguments that if they found even one instance of abuse, and it did not even have to be physical abuse, that they would have to find for Amber Heard, and they didn't.
Yeah, Elaine, and they didn't. And see what Elaine does here next, and this is the mind games that Elaine likes to play. Because first in this clip, she blames the jury. Okay, and this is what she does. She blames the jury, saying the jury's corrupt. She blames the doctors.
This is hold on. I'm so sorry. This is exactly what I just pointed out. She blamed everybody. Again, she blamed the judge. She blamed the jury. She blamed the attorney. She even blamed the witnesses. Do you see the pattern going on here? Like, everyone else can capture this. Oh my gosh. And Kathy Griffin couldn't capture this moment here. She couldn't like see the pattern going on between like what we all saw as opposed to her and all those mind drones that are just following Amber Heard just because she's a woman or because she's a celebrity. I don't just support Johnny Depp because he's like a hero to me and he's an actor and he's a celebrity. I defend him because he's actually speaking the truth and he actually has evidence and he actually has, mounted evidence and truthful areas of testimonies that back up his claims. I'm also backing him up because he's also a decent human being that's also down to earth. And yes, while he has his flaws in terms of like drugs and in terms of having problems, but you know what? It's the fact that when you give somebody a shitty life like that, they're going to actually tend to act one way. But that doesn't go to show that he's going to be exactly abusive. And again, why didn't none of his exes actually come up and actually say, well, yeah, he was abusive to me? None of them came up. Why didn't they? They had all the time and the opportunity in the world to do that. What did they do? They all said he was never like that to them. Until Amber Heard came into this situation. Why is that? Oh, and let's also add the fact on top that she also had chemistry issues with Jason Momoa, and the president of DC, or the head of DC, said it all out. Good luck trying to get a fucking career, Amber.
Blames the therapists. She blames the judge. She blames Johnny. Blame everybody around you except your client that you represented, who knowingly stood up and lied. And just recently there was an article posted, and this is alleged, but it's from an anonymous source. One of the jurors decided to speak out, said allegedly that right when Amber got up on the stand and lied about the donation versus pledge, that she pledged this certain number of money, and then she lied about it on the stand. That's when the jurors really had enough of her shit, essentially. So much of what Amber said was so exaggerative, which is why the jury just couldn't really believe it, because she didn't make a case for her.
Well, let me also add on top of that. Exaggerative, fabricated, one-sided, and it is a story that doesn't stick. Because she would also backtrack, go back and forth, be like, oh, no, this happened, no, this happened, no, this happened, no, this happened. So there's a few things on top of that she did tend to do with her story. Her story wasn't adding up, and it was not sticking to the original part of her story that she told before. So there's that.
Herself, exaggerating small things, and using the same, the same photos multiple times of somebody sleeping on a chair with a cigarette or ice cream in their hand, resubmitting the same photo multiple times, saying this is evidence, this is evidence. There is absolutely no setback from Johnny Depp winning this legal case. The case was about Amber lying in court, committing DV, and creating false evidence to create a narrative that somebody did something they did not do. It's crazy to me that Elaine's even doing this interview saying that everything was suppressed, despite us listening to this trial, seeing and hearing it with our own eyes and ears.
Amen.
How do you come back from audio evidence of somebody saying that nobody's going to believe you because you're a man, Johnny? I didn't punch you, Johnny. I hit you instead. There's so much, there's no coming back from that level of evidence. It's so clear as day, and is an admission of guilt, and the fact that she was constantly an instigator. Elaine is so incompetent at her job that she can't even get the other case that happened in the UK. She can't even vocalize the actual facts of that case. It wasn't between Amber and Johnny. Elaine, might I remind you that you're talking on televised TV. You're being seen by thousands and millions of people all around the world. And then Elaine tries to blame social media as the real problem, not the fact that your client lies. Short commercial break. Special thanks to the sponsor of the channel today, Vance Global. And I have a new announcement from them to you, to me. We all know that they make these wonderful Delta 8 CBD and THC smokes.
Finally, they can actually take a look at stuff and actually examine.
Organic smokes, and they're super tasty gummies. We know that these products are good, so here's my special announcement from Vance Global. If you use code REPSION at checkout, you're going to get your normal 20% off your order and free shipping. Remember that they ship to all 50 states, but now Vance Global offers a subscription model, which will save you even more money. If you go to their website, go up to the subscribe tab, you can select from $8.99 to all the way to $260.99 subscription plan offers, which offer a weekly basis, a 2-week basis, a monthly basis, or every 2 months. And if you go to vanceglobal.com and use code REPSION at checkout with a subscription, you're gonna get 30% off your order instead of your normal 20% off. So if you want to subscribe and you keep forgetting that you need to do another order, you'll be saving even more money by using my code at checkout, REPSION. If you're in need of relaxation, if you're trying to get rid of all that nicotine, Vance Global is a great, refreshing, relaxing replacement, which will ultimately be sending you up to heaven and getting a fantastic night's sleep. To support the channel, click the link below.
And the other part to bear in mind here is nothing changed. The op-ed didn't even mention Mr. Depp by name. And so what basically they did here is demonize her.
Here's the thing about that. The op-ed didn't mention Johnny specifically by name, but it inferred it. Inference. That, and when Amber was on the stand asking about the op-ed, she incriminated herself about this whole thing. It wasn't completely about Johnny. Yes, it was. It was inferred, and heavily. Like, you think people and viewers and all the eyes and ears watching this are all stupid and can't comprehend what inference is. If you want to know what is a true setback for women, Elaine, that would be your client's choice to lie and abuse. That sets back women. Lying sets back women. Lying
Amen.
sets back men. Lying about SA sets back everyone. This is not gender wars.
I'm going to say it though, because when he says SA, that's sexual assault. Because again, if YouTube is going to be completely just on the choice of just censoring things because we're just offensive nowadays, sexual assault, by the way, YouTube, because I got the balls to say what you don't want people to say, which is ironic because the freedom of speech thing kind of guarantees that I can actually say that word, given the context. So sexual assault is what he's referring to, by the way. So.
Here, okay?
And they were able to suppress the medical records, which were very, very significant because they showed a pattern going all the way back to 2012 of Amber reporting this to her therapist, for example.
Elaine. Medical documents are not the same thing as telling your therapist that, hey, I have a bruise on my arm, or, I was horrendously hurt by this horrendous act of a bottle. How many times did Amber get on stand and literally say, no, and there was no medical documentation of any of these horrific acts of DV that were alleged. Talking to your therapist is not medical documentation. Trying to conflate these two things shows really how stupid you are, Elaine.
We had significant amount of texts, including from Mr. Depp's assistants, saying, when I told him he kicked you, he cried. He is so sorry. That didn't come in.
Is there any other way to interpret this verdict, though, that this jury, for whatever reason, and I hear you on some of the evidence that they didn't hear, listening to Amber Heard, did not believe?
You know what's so funny about all this is that ever since when Amber Heard and Elaine lost this trial, they're just going out of their way to just try to get this back into motion, get the appeal on that. Meanwhile, Johnny Depp is just, out on the other side of the world, just partying on his guitar, just minding his own business, just with everything lifted off his shoulders. He's just enjoying music and enjoying life. Meanwhile, you got this. Meanwhile, Amber Heard and Elaine are out to just try to make his life a living hell once again, because people already know the truth and they still want to actually kick a man while he's down. But, one sec.
Believe a single word.
And that's because she was
Mega
demonized
Pencil.
here.
She was
my
demonized. You keep saying that same word, and I don't think you know what that word means, what you think it means, Elaine. What Elaine is doing in this interview is literally claiming that you have to believe someone despite evidence that directly contradicts what someone is saying or shows that somebody is lying, that even if they're shown out to be lying and that the evidence contradicts what the claim is, to ignore it because she's a woman. Elaine cannot admit her own mistakes in the same way that Amber Heard can't admit her own crimes and lies. If there's one thing for certain that I've learned through watching and observing this whole trial, is that old media is dead. All of these, all these gigantic websites covering this stuff that are still, even to this very day after the fact, and the ruling, and all this evidence has been put out to the public, and audio, and everything is so incriminating towards Amber. These old medias, these old articles, these websites that keep publishing stuff against Johnny, even now, as of today, to never trust media.
A number of things were allowed in.
And that's why, like I said, don't believe everything you read on the internet, by the way. That's what I'm just going to tell you guys.
This court that should not have been allowed, and it caused the jury to be confused. We weren't allowed to tell them about the UK judgment, so the damages is completely skewed. There are no damages.
It was a completely different case. What the hell? Well, what does that have any relevance to do with here? It's a different case.
It stopped at November 2, 2020, which is when the judgment came down in the UK.
Let me ask you about social media in this case. Unlike any celebrity case, certainly I've ever covered or ever seen, social media was a part of this. And it was incredibly lopsided and vitriolic against Amber Heard. Do you think that had an effect on the case?
Absolutely.
You think jurors were aware of it? They weren't supposed to be. They're admonished every single day Don't look at it. Do you think they did see it?
How can you not? They went home every night. They have families. The families are on social media. We had a 10-day break in the middle because of the judicial conference. There's no way they couldn't have been influenced by it. And it was horrible. It really, really was lopsided.
See, now she's claiming that the jury's all corrupt because of social media, instead of blaming the responsibility on your client for lying. She sits there in her cradle of clout, misrepresenting evidence for the favor of her client, even now after it's done.
I appreciate your saying that. It's like the Roman Colosseum.
Thank you, by the way. Well, it's
know,
actually originally
how
supposed.
they
It
viewed
actually
this
has a
whole
sleeve
case.
to it, but I took the
I
sleeve
was
off
against
because
cameras
it was
in
like
the courtroom,
ripping.
and I went on record with that.
Because it used to be a
argued
hoodie.
Against it because
No, that's not why you were against cameras, because of the sensitive nature of this. You were against cameras because you didn't want to be called out for your mental mind fuckery that you played in this trial, in your terrible attempts to discredit people who had evidence of the contrary of what you were claiming. How Elaine can sit there and still try to manipulate people who are survivors of DV, attempt to make people feel guilt and sorry for Amber after the fact. I think that Elaine forgot what the job of the jury is supposed to do. Examine the weight of the evidence and find what is credible and what isn't, and that's exactly what they did. The outcome of this defamation case is a win for women and men, regardless of gender, because hashtag abuse holds no gender. The only person who ever demonized herself was Amber Heard. The only one who destroyed their own credibility was Amber Heard. The only person who victimized themselves was Amber Heard.
because of the sensitive nature of this. But it made it a zoo.
Does your client want to appeal?
Oh, absolutely. And she has some excellent grounds for it. We
Abuse
even had tried
knows
to get the
no.
UK
Actually,
judgment
abuse
in
holds no gender.
to
Okay.
dismiss his case because he already had
I'm
his
actually. You know,
shot.
I'm gonna copy
And that's
that.
one of the issues, but also a number of the evidentiary issues. There was so much evidence that did not come in.
Is she able to pay a $10.4 million judgment?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
That's like the one truthful
Finally,
thing
in
right
closing
there. She
arguments,
says.
Amber's team argued that this would send a message, that it would send a message that no matter what you do as an abuse victim, you always have to do more. You need to be perfect in order for people to believe you if she did not get a favorable verdict. What message do you think?
Johnny wasn't even perfect, and we believed him because he actually had everything he needed. He's not perfect either. Nobody here is perfect. But he had everything he needed. He had evidence. He actually had stories that matched. He had people that actually sided with him and had witnessed a lot of crap with him. I mean, you're a lawyer. You should know this. Holy crap.
This sense.
It's a horrible message. It's, as I said, a setback. It's a significant setback.
My gosh, Joe Pesci could play a better lawyer than you, and he was portraying a lawyer. Have you guys ever seen My Cousin Vinny? If you haven't, watch that. But like Joe Pesci would be a million times of a greater lawyer than Elaine here. And Joe Pesci's an actor. Okay, he's not actually a lawyer. He was an actor who portrayed a lawyer. He does a better job of portraying a lawyer than Elaine actually is of being a lawyer herself.
Because that's exactly what it means. Unless you pull out your phone and you video your spouse or your significant other beating you, effectively, you won't be believed.
Elaine Charleston, Brad Hoff, thank you very much for your time.
All I really have left to say in regards to Elaine is that I feel no empathy or sympathy for her, which when the case first started, I kind of did, because I was like, man, she's going to have one hard case, having to defend her client, because that's what she's being paid to do. And now I kind of have to eat my own words. I have to eat my own conscience on that, because clearly Elaine is just as unhinged as Amber Heard and doesn't recognize and can't even admit fault or a wrongdoing of when your client lies to you and lies to the world.
And so now this just gave me an idea now. I haven't done a blacklist video in a long, long time. And I'm thinking a blacklist video over Elaine and Amber Heard would just about do the trick there. A community-based video. I think I might actually do that. Let me go ahead and take a look at this real quick. Bing. But yeah, I'm thinking of doing a blacklist video. I might actually just do that. Where are we at? An hour? Okay, cool. We still got time. Now, while we're taking a tad bit of a break from that, for those, if anyone's a Trivium fan, by the way, there's actually a side project that Matt Heafy has been working on. It's a black metal project. It's called Iburaki. His new album, I'm not sure exactly when it came out, though, but listen to some of the songs on here, and holy crap. So one of my favorites on there was Ronin, which is basically from Iburaki. As it turns out, Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance is also in pretty much contribution to this particular music video. I'm going to actually turn the volume down because, again, I don't want to get copyright striked. I'm going to link this video as well, too. But I got to say, Gerard Way from My Chemical Romance, actually, he did a phenomenal job with this particular performance. Something I didn't really expect, but like, oh my gosh, I think the black metal community would welcome this guy with open arms. I'm not kidding. Let me go ahead and paste again. There we go. Save that right there. Bingo. Okay. That is pretty kick-ass. All right. Now, there is one more thing we need to do. Okay. Do a lot of this other stuff here doesn't really amount. Yeah, I'm surprised a lot of things don't change. Anyway, so save that. Thank you. Making sure that actually comes out. Yep, it actually came out. Cool. Nice. And yes, Joe Pesci was also in Goodfellas and Irishman. Dude, okay, so Goodfellas, My Cousin Vinny, and Casino. Those are like my favorite performances from him because mostly he's a gangster, but like even as a lawyer too, pretty kick-ass when it comes to that. But my favorite roles are like when he's a gangster. Do appreciate that. I will actually try to do a little bit more live streaming a little bit more often. It's just, again, like when everyone covers subjects, I feel like I'm always behind on the loop on that, but might try to make it a little bit more often, and we'll just try to do a little bit more like that. So I think that's all the time I'm actually going to have for the stream right here. Like, it was actually a blast. I kind of got what I needed to have out. So if anything, thank you guys for coming out. I might try to do another one possibly either tomorrow or, just whenever the time feels right for it. So thank you guys very much. I'm actually going to end this off. You guys have a wonderful day. Stay safe. If anyone's drinking, do not drive. Be responsible. And like I said, just be safe. Anyway, you have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.